Hey guys, welcome back to the finale for Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Rise from the Ashes. Last time, we got Gant on the stand, and, he, all but, we pretty much have him for it, but then he's like, I kind of have, immunity more or less, and so he's basically was just like, I don't have to testify. I can do what I want. But now that he has done that, according to Edgeworth, that also means that he can't say anything. So basically, all of this is going to come down to our final witness, probably, Miss Lana Skye. Also, Emma's back. Let's roll. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? Miss Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. And Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye, and remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course. The truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. She didn't kill the guy, but, she helped helped with it. And, she's definitely not getting out of this scot-free. But it's gonna be really interesting, what all wraps up this round. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us all about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. She has to know that, because he can't say anything else, he can't, counter her. And, no matter, the thing is, everything that she was protecting, she was protecting Emma. And even if they try to, push this whole she murdered, Prosecutor Marshall, there is no one, I don't think that there is anyone that's going to be able to be no. And also, too, there was even something with this, in episode 4, because it was something, I think, with Edgeworth's dad, the statute of limitations was coming up for his murder. So technically, so long as no one is, so much of a puppet of Gant to, push it, but if he's in prison, no one's gonna be dumb enough to, try to go for that. I don't know. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to his blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. You sure about this testimony? She's definitely going to get arrested for, perjury charges, forgery charges. She's gonna lose her license. But, do you want your sister to basically be on her own? Because you're gonna be in prison, girly pop. Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. Lana! If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? He would not be so fucking sketchy then. She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yes, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Okay, what do we have proof that she was the sole fabricator? The main thing I'm thinking is this. That fragment. But, we've also shown that, 18,000 times. There's no truth to the theory. Fabricated the evidence by myself. When I found prosecutor, I rearranged the crime scene. I'm gonna press that. You say you did all this by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor's knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. And that's only a situation you dreamed was possible.
Also, the entire fact, I feel like there are certain times when she, like, turns to the side and turns to the back. Like, I definitely feel like she probably has, like, a tell in her face. And, like, that has to be, like, a tell for, like, the view, like, the player.
But it is really fascinating. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change the statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that's so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh? That was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies.
All just to protect me.
So when you found a scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. Wait, did we press this? Oh, shoot. You planted the tip and then you moved the body. Why? Why would you do that?
Also, what is the purpose of planting the tip of the knife? Just, like, re-stab him. You've already done it once. I mean, I guess she didn't do that 2 years ago. But, like, seriously, just re-stab. As long as the knife is bigger, then, like, you're fine. I guess it probably... Like, I know, like, she's lying out of her ass. But, like, still. Girl, get better. You, of all people, should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders.
My head isn't that bad. Maybe I ought to ask for the sake of the others. When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. Pieces of the jar that shattered during threatened my plan. What? Pieces of the jar, you mean? Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was already... Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would have been clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. I see. What's the matter, Emma?
Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there's more to it than that.
There must be a contradiction here somewhere. Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. Let's present the jar. Miss Guy, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister.
You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered?
If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not have been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar.
That makes sense. I did not think of that.
Order! Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you are as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth.
Very well. The witness now might continue her testimony.
Immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood.
There's no reason to wipe away the blood.
Fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
That is... You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood?
I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time.
She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. God, this is like the
How did she immediately notice it if it was dark?
So the jar was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier.
It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case.
And not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You were an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. It was dark and I didn't have time to check it out. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened.
What do you mean?
If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation?
Lana,
I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces.
She didn't get them all.
But how could you have seen with the power out? It should have been pitch black at that office. The detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me.
Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go.
I never miss anything. I got every last piece. That is a lie.
Do we have to show this again?
Because one of them was found in Gant's office. Miss Guy, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you are unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She didn't really know. And there's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But
the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them.
Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you.
But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective.
That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe that?
Objection!
Have you forgotten, Your Honor?
I'm gonna go back to the spent an entire day. Not that I have dentures. I have multiple times searched for my glasses and they're like on my head. Because I can't see shit without them. And then object permanence, God, it's a bitch. I have done that before. I have lost my glasses numerous times. Like, I'm at the point, if I don't, like, I have to have multiple pairs because I practically can't see. It's bad. Also, I have lost my phone numerous times and it is, like, under something. Not, like, under a pile of things, but, like, under, like, my Kindle or, like, something like that. It's, like, under one thing and I will, like, destroy everything, like, trying to find it, and I'm, like, searching under all other piles because I'm like, okay,
I know this pile was here since whatever day. It's bad. I think I just, like, outed myself for being, like, very forgetful. The brain fog is just permanently there. And object permanence is a bitch. When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that! There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I've been not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? The question is, if he did arrive first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No! Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question, what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. There we go. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark. Sparing Emma, therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the chief's puppet. Here's my thing. No, I did it on my own. This is the one thing that is still bugging me. Like, we have everything figured out. So, like, you know, Gant, like, why would Gant have moved the body before Lana? Like, I could see Lana seeing it and then asking for the, like, what? Okay, here's my thing. I'm very curious about this because we only have the stab wound. And if you see and believe all of that, depending on who your autopsyist is, they might not have looked anywhere else for anything else. So I'm wondering if potentially Gant killed Marshall, made it look like it was Emma, and then brought, because that's the thing is, why would he kind of pull this whole long con thing? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Because there's this whole thing about Dark, them slipping up and Dark escaping. And that's the thing that keeps bugging me. And maybe that just never gets solved, and I'm just gonna be mad about it for the rest of my life. I don't know. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. See, this is why I'm fully thinking it was Gant. Gant is the one who wanted to frame Emma. That's what I'm thinking, because when we look back to this, where's the picture? Where's our evidence sheet? Here it is. Nope, that's not the evidence sheet. Where's the evidence sheet? God damn, I kept missing it. Like, there's this whole thing. It was a broken knife that was getting wielded. And, like, they were saying it was Marshall and she pushed him. But then it doesn't make sense for her to have seen the jar in the Blue Badger way. And I'm thinking that stupid handprint on his face is gonna be, this handprint is gonna eventually mean something. I hope. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies. Imagine that coming from my own client. Huh, I guess you do seem to type to who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap?
Is something wrong, Mr. Wright?
Lana may be right after all.
What do you mean, right? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
Miss Skye, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall.
Miss Skye, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there's a possibility that it will if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw.
Which is definitely Gant had something to do with Marshall's death. And because here's the thing. If Marshall was supposedly still alive for 10 minutes, it wouldn't have been that hard for Gant to have used, I mean, even if he was dead, to use Marshall's blood to write with his hand, Emma. Broken the vase. The vase would have had to have been on the floor. Like, it's not hard.
Alright, the witness may testify once more, for the final time. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence and linked her to the murder.
So I'm fully believing that Gant was the one who wrote Emma's name. It wasn't Marshall, it was Gant.
I had Chief Gant help me move the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all was really a fabrication, Emma might be innocent.
Unbelievable, that body was impaled on the armor sword.
You were the only one who saw that, if only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? It's a picture I took at the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed.
I don't remember. It's in the book, dipshit. And I looked into the book. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any picture from Lana.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right?
I seem to remember getting something from her then.
Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Are we gonna have to, like...
Hey, there's a picture here. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything.
Mr. Wright, that piece cut out from his vest, could that be?
The cloth was found inside Chief Gant's safe. What's... The handprint...
That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints those are, must be the real murderer.
What? But those fingerprints... They're yours, Emma.
Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright?
Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flesh out the real murderer.
Very well, the defense now may begin its cross-examination. The entire fact that that is cut out means that Gant got there before Lana did.
That was... sick. Yeah.
Go to your early bird special.
Come now, Edgy. This is the poorest excuse of a trial I've ever seen.
Chief Gant.
What, now you want to make me out as the bad guy too?
If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense.
I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make any statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Anime. So what, you think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence?
No, I don't, but someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves you knocked over Marshall, causing his death.
Again! If Emma were to be convicted, it would be at most like manslaughter. Like everyone's like, it was first degree. Like they talk like it's first degree murder. Do y'all not know nothing? I haven't even the last thing I did was an intro to criminal justice course back in community college way long ago. And I'm like, seriously? Like everyone is like acting like this is like capital murder charge. And it's like, no. Even I know that. Like the only reason that they would push it more would be because he was a prosecutor. And I know sometimes when it comes to like cops and stuff like that, like I think if you're a criminal trying to escape and you killed a cop or something like that as you were trying to escape, even though that wasn't your intent, it would still be more along the lines of like capital punishment. But like nowhere in it is that. And also no one is going to charge like a 16 or 18-year-old with like capital murder because she's just like, I was trying to help. Like she would have to have some sort of motive. And if her motive was she thought that it was Dark who was going to kill Marshall, then like, yeah.
Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt.
The fact that you have this cut proves that you were there, dumbass.
Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as a murderer.
Again, like, she would have been the one to lead to his death. But I'm sure something else happened and it wasn't her. She might have pushed him. Other things might have happened. But like if Gant wasn't such a fuck up and let his like suspect escape, you know, maybe it wouldn't be in this situation. Like why are we not focusing on the fact that like Gant and Marshall somehow let this guy out, somehow he escaped, and it's like all being like brushed under the cover, like they were just like chatting on the street and then he just ran in. No. Like also aren't most interrogation rooms like you always have like that thing on the other side. Like there's always someone watching on the other side of it. I've watched way too much NCIS and crime scene shows to know this. So it's like, it's always made, so it's like the interrogation room and then it's like one-way mirrors and then you have other people on the other side. So the fact that it's like Gant and Marshall are talking, like interrogating Dark in this room and he escapes, but there was no one on that other side of the wall to see this. The fact that there aren't officers concerned that this man is very much a high suspect. There is something missing and it's bugging me. And I'm probably putting too much emphasis on this as opposed to what actually I need to be focusing on. Because again, this is, I think, more of a PG to teen rating. So like the accuracy isn't there. Doesn't have to be there. But it's still bugging me.
Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you'll be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I'd better think this carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Marshall?
Here's my thing. Oh, if we show it. Okay, so I was double checking. Because I was like, well, if we show the evidence, and we can also prove that Gant was there before Lana because it was already cut out. Because Lana would have no reason to do that. Also, there are a million other ways that you could say, like, it's not necessarily put. Also, too, like, pushing, like, God.
but let's get ourselves let's conceal some evidence, boys. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at the moment in this time. What? You lie. Chief Gant, you opened my safe. I know you took what was inside, and the conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at the picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? Looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason.
I wonder by who? Who would have had a reason to cut it out and shove it in their safe? Huh?
You mean you had this in your safe?
What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department.
Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as a murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
What? You mean you admit to it? Wait, but this doesn't count as testimony. Like, he's refused it.
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use this situation to control Lana.
So you really were manipulating her.
I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister. When she saw the scene, she would ask for my aid. So you assisted, Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. And I tampered with the crime scene. I hid 2 pieces of evidence. That was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence. You mean those items in your safe? But why? And for insurance, of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work. But it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed.
You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence?
Oh, you take me for a fool. I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. Yeah, see this jar fragment? And the most legible part of him is name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces.
Objection!
But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Thank you. Oh, some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Wright, cough it up already. I know you have it.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright?
So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. Yeah, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
We still haven't got to Bruce Goodman yet. We still got a second shot, boy. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Righto. You should have said it before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine.
So, now we show it.
Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. I was looking at something. This picture is very important.
Take that!
I was right. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. At last, you finally brought it out into the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth.
Your Honor, the prosecution requested immediately be sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather, there must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean it could not have been forged? It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Oh, you're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Wright had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that?
Mr. Wright, do you really know?
Whoever's the fingerprints must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well, I'll tell you. Should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person whom these fingerprints belong to is...
Take that!
Emma! Emma Sky?
What? They're mine?
I'm sorry, Emma.
But why? Why didn't you tell me?
Oh, you're really something, Wright. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me.
We never... Okay, we're not doing this Marshall. We're not doing Marshall's. This is all about Goodman. We're pinning that murder on you, not this one.
So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death.
How could you? You monster! This guy, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't.
Miss Sky, it's not over yet.
What?
I said this trial isn't over yet. I'm afraid it's over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat's got your tongue. Aren't you gonna tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall?
What?
Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask?
It was Emma Sky, wasn't it?
I'm afraid that's not possible, you see. This piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is.
Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict?
Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth.
There's blood on the shirt where the cutout is.
Take that!
And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Guy took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of the vest was cut out?
Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all this blood on his vest, though.
Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth.
Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it.
Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on a sword at that time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked down. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Alana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood, a jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue, and make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago, that you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? The very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer.
Here's my question, though. What motive does Gant have for killing Marshall? Like, other than, like, this fuck-up that led to Dark getting out, like, what benefit does Gant have from killing Marshall? No.
It's finally all over. That was close, Wright. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations.
What do you mean you refute his allegations?
You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence.
Order! Order! What nonsense is this?
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Raji, earlier, Righto here concealed that piece of cloth.
Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence.
At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
And that's not fair!
You really think you could best me in court? Looks like the laughs laugh on you, son.
I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth?
True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Well, Mr. Wright?
It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Why are we sounding like the evil guy now? Mr. Wright, do admit to it that you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to say that we didn't. Yeah.
I admit I refused to present it at one point. So the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then, it's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involving when presenting evidence.
No, Aji, don't listen to his lies.
He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe.
There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? All of this doesn't pertain back to Bruce Goodman. That has, like, we have basically solved Marshall's, but not Goodman's, which is the whole point that we're here for. Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. Unregistered evidence must be relevant. If we didn't think it was relevant because there's no blood on it.
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law.
What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma's guy's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at the point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written here in this book, the second rule of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. Goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident.
What kind of nonsense is this?
If you want relevancy, take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall when that picture was presented?
It was shown only a few moments ago.
No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, damn it, Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. On the day of the crime, you personally cut off the piece of the victim's...
No! I could burst your eardrums, but it's more fun to do it that way.
It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damn it, Gant, the killer was you.
But none of this pertains back to Bruce Goodman. I did not have enough breath to be able to do the build, and also my lungs are shit.
I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the apartment trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman. Yeah, that's right. Edmund turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. Stole Goodman's ID and tried to take the evidence. And Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room, and then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? And you please reopen the investigation, Chief. We can't transfer the evidence out. There's too many questions left unanswered.
I don't know what voice he has. He has the dead man's voice. That's all I know.
He opened his evidence locker. As he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm gonna hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken back by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much on the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. And you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk. What's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will.
Yeah, look at your stupid car, Edgeworth.
Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how? How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. Felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments in the glove. Yeah. Looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. And they did their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Now tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals, I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see when it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone.
How about you just get your fucking evidence, dipshit?
Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye.
Oh, Audrey. What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Yeah, those days are long gone now, Aji. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright here and Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky? You no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years, and the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky, I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now you might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. Listen to me. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor. You're innocent of murder, however, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, the trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant Miss Lana Sky not guilty. Every time that song always just comes up in my head, and I'm like, that is all. This court is adjourned. At long last, it's finally over. Emma, why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why. Is it the fact that she was like thanking them and not her? You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh? Are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right, I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess.
Sis.
I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. But now, I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself. But I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew.
But sis, you were only doing it for me.
No.
Huh?
I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you.
Sis.
I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgot that so in there, so we'll make it even more sad.
But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now.
You're happy?
Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back, and now you have.
Oh, Emma. Emma! No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on toward a brighter future. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe.
Me?
Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. In the spin-offs. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Right. Well, I'll be going now. Little Cindy. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes.
See, it's this line. Like, I feel like if we had something where it was, like, the thing is I'm like, would it have been better for him to have been, like, in the defendant's seat and then have this, like, I'm not 1,000% sure how I would have done it. Mr. Edgeworth.
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right.
But he has been going at it alone, like, all this time.
I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them, but in order to fight criminals on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue as a prosecutor.
Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth chooses death.
Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damning Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma. We're both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright.
I mean, technically his weapon is the police force, so long as he has, like, a good relationship with the police force, like, and knowing that he can trust them, like, that is his shield and his spear.
And because of that partnership, You were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
Like, here's the thing. It's like going about, like, I really like kind of the message instead of it necessarily being like a personal affront to like your reputation, to your ability to do something, whether or not you got a win or not. That shouldn't matter so long as you were getting towards the truth. And I, like, definitely in, like, the second game, like, which, again, if anyone is watching this in, like, the canonical order and not as I'm uploading things, like, you're probably like, why the hell do you keep talking about the second game? It's because I played it before this. But my biggest thing is the fact that, basically, like, he does come to this conclusion. He does kind of see that it's like the idea of the truth is more important than the win. Because at the end of it, it doesn't, like, we're based off the information that you have, and more importantly, because you are a, like, that is your that is your job to prove it. But that doesn't mean that if you are, you know, given the wrong information or not enough information, and you're working off of that bias, like, it doesn't mean that what you have, like, it doesn't mean just because you lost because, you know, you were prosecuting an innocent person, or eventually, you know, you are having to defend a guilty person, you know, that doesn't mean that you weren't good at your job. Like, the concept of committing an innocent person or getting a guilty person off should be secondary to the truth. And for both Gant and Karma, I feel like both of them viewed it as this was a thing to them. Like, it wasn't the fact of, oh, the truth just wasn't what we thought it was. It was specifically, and especially in Gant's case, it was, I have to make this look like I'm right, because if I'm, you know, I hope any of that makes sense. Let's just move on.
Huh? What? Oh yeah, what is this, a pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana was talking about.
Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth and I would have been able to find on our own.
I have no idea what this would be. Is it the frickin' evidence thing? Is it this? Is it the evidence thing? Because he had half and then we had half. Yeah.
Take that!
That's the picture I drew.
Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go.
Mr. Edgeworth.
If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up.
Like, what the fuck was the motive for Gant killing Marshall, though?
Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. Seems I owe my thanks to you, right? But what I face now is my problem.
And that's how we move into the spin-off. I think, maybe, I don't know.
Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I better get going too.
Okay, but I'll be by to visit you soon.
It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you.
Scientific investigation?
It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well.
Thanks, sis. I will.
And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself.
Wait. Well, don't go trekking up just yet, pal.
Huh? What is it, detective?
And it's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be at a jail like this. But,
I thought you said it was okay.
yeah, well, maybe okay with me, but the folks in the prison are a different story.
Huh?
And basically, I had to bribe a guy in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. And believe me, it won't cheap either.
Huh?
Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, yeah, you see, Mr. Wright here is the one who'd be footing the bill.
Huh? What?
Oh, what, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal.
Huh? Huh?
Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best.
Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Objection!
And that's it. Here's the thing. I'm gonna let this roll while I talk about this game. Here's the thing. I think my biggest issue with it, there are times where it feels almost like the entire, journey that Edgeworth has. Because there is no time where he's, completely ruined by everything. It feels like he kind of has an answer. But this is only 2 months in. So at some point, but it seems like it was, right before. Because this kind of gives that feeling of, build instead of kind of just breaking him. I feel like if it was less of, see, we did it together sort of thing, and it was more of just, the breaking of, his concept of what absolute justice meant, instead of trying, or, going from, absolute justice to, true justice. You know, instead of trying to prove that regardless of what he has, he's always right, to he's, his job is to solely find the truth and nothing else. But I think it's one of those things that it's it works and it doesn't. Meekins is idle as gumshoe. Sorry, that's funny. But I think all in all, this is a really interesting way. Again, I don't know if this is where the Miles Edgeworth stuff comes in. And I don't know if it was just that one recent game. I'm still mad about that handprint. We never got the answer to that. It's probably gumshoe. But it still bugs me. Anyway. I think it works as a shoe-in. But the thing is... Oh no. It feels like we have to have somewhere where he drops. And unless it is in, the in-between game between this one and Justice for All, it doesn't really make sense where it could be elsewise. But I think all in all, it was fun. I think it's fun. I don't... These are really hard to really, say, oh, you should go play this yourself. Because, if you've watched this whole, LP, I guess mini LP? I don't know what I'm calling this. But if you've watched all of this, it's really hard to be I'm gonna go play it myself, because there's nothing there. However, I do want to announce what the next LP is going to be, because I'm very excited, and it is a massive project. I have been working on this all this year. All this year, I have been working towards this project. Partially because I was going to upload it earlier, but next episode will be
Genshin Impact. We are jumping into Genshin. I'm very excited about it, although like I've gotten a lot into it because you'll be able to tell. You will be able to tell because I did a whole lot before and I've had to spread it out. But I hope you guys are interested. This is going to be a very long thing, and I'm not going to have like dual like projects going up. I usually do just kind of trying to get everything done. I kind of just ignore, like I focus on one project. And that's going to be what Genshin is. I'm going to be going through the main quest. I'm going to be going through some of the character stories. But it's so nice that they put Maya in. But hopefully you guys will enjoy jumping into that. And that one's gonna be very weird because like I said, I started recording it at the beginning of the year and I had a lot of different equipment then. I was hoping to be able to talk through the rest of the credits, but I've run out of things to say. But I will say this, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see y'all for the start of Genshin Impact.